You are listening to a production of the WEBO Podcast Network.
Hello, and welcome to the 18th episode of the second season of the Tiger Sports Page. I'm your host, Janae Johnson, sitting in for the under the weather Angelina Lopez. Tiger Sports Page is a weekly podcast and YouTube program dedicated to all things LISD sports. Lancaster ISD, for those of you who don't know the geography, is in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex in North Texas, just south of Dallas. Lancaster High School, most of what we cover here on this podcast, is a member of the Texas University Interscholastic League and plays in the 6A division, which is the division with the largest schools and the biggest populations. And we cover all of that. Now, on today's program, joined today by our head women's basketball coach, Coach LaJeanna Howard. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Before we start our questions, please give us a quick autobiography about yourself.
Okay. I started coaching at Sterlington High School in Louisiana. I was doing my internship there, thinking I was going to be a physical therapist, and they asked me to coach, so I coached a year there as a JV coach. I fell in love more with the basketball side than I did the physical therapy side, and from there I kind of took off. I did a year at University of Louisiana Monroe, where I also went to school, go Warhawks, and then I came back to Texas to get into the high school realm. I started as a middle school coach at Reed Middle School, went through a couple of years there, and after that I moved into Duncanville High School as an assistant, 1 year assistant, and from there I went right into becoming a head coach at Dallas Lincoln. From Dallas Lincoln I went back to Duncanville to be a head coach, and then from Duncanville I'm here. So just full circle moment right here back in Lancaster.
Okay. Your team has completed the first half of the district play and is entering the home stretch of the season. Please give us your honest first half report about the starting season.
My team is a team that's continuously growing through the season. We've gotten better and better every game. We've learned from our losses, which is pivotal in having the success that you need in the postseason playoffs. And so every game we've gotten just a bit better. For me, it's really important that we don't make the same mistakes from the lessons that we learned from our losses into this next half. And I watched us do a very good job of bouncing back and with a big victory last night. So proud of the girls, and we're hunting for that state title.
So, since starting the season, you went into the season with some expectations, correct?
Correct.
So, what are the expectations that you have for yourself, your staff, and your team? And how are you meeting them with those expectations?
I already knew. I always set my bar at the top. If you are a coach going into a high school team, you should, in my opinion, state should be the goal. That's the goal. That's the ultimate measure of you winning and being the best in your division. So I'm always with that state in mind and taking every little piece along the way to get better for that purpose. As a coach, my expectations was to build the program, make sure the foundation is laid, make sure that my expectations are thorough and everybody understands them, make sure that we have involvement with the community, make sure our parent and support team is there, and also just working to develop these young ladies on and off the court.
Okay. So, with expectation, there comes challenge. What are some of the challenges that you and your team have faced?
We're just new. It's new. When you come to a new territory, you're understanding the land, you're understanding how things work. And so anytime there's newness or change, then you come against some speed bumps. And every speed bump isn't to slow you down. It's actually to help you for future endeavors.
Okay. So you mentioned earlier that you coached at Duncanville.
Mm-hmm.
And you have played your former school now twice.
Mm-hmm.
And we're happy to report that you are 1-1 against them.
Absolutely.
How does that feel? And how has knowing that team affected your play calling and your coaching?
You know what? It is an advantage. It is an advantage. I have. That was the first time I played against a team of girls that I actually coached. When I left Lincoln and went to Duncanville, we didn't play Lincoln, so I never did coach against some kids that I had already coached. So it has its advantages because I work closely with all of my players one-on-one outside of just the normal practice time. We use practice to also skill and to find out what their weaknesses are. And so I did have, I think, a bit of an advantage understanding what weaknesses they had, how to, teach my girls here at Lancaster how to, basically we want to make sure we make the best of the things that we already knew. Knowledge is power, and so we use that knowledge to get us over the hump. These girls locked in. We had a great scouting report thanks to my assistants, and we were able to understand what we needed to do to get the dub, and we did it.
Okay. So what can we expect to see from the women's basketball team during the remaining of the season?
Oh, you're gonna see a state title hunt. We are on the prowl, and these girls have the tenacity, the energy, and just the grit to take us all the way there. So I'm excited about that. It's gonna be fun.
Okay. So in the fall, you and your team faced some unpredicted adversity with the UIL investigation and even some actions. How have you personally and professionally persevered?
Personally, I'm very spirit-led. I believe all things happen for a reason and a purpose, and I use every adversity to push me towards excellence. And so with that, I try my best to teach not only myself or just take those words of wisdom, but I try to walk in that action. I try to use those things to propel me. We never understand things, but it's not our job to understand them. It is our job to use them as life tools. And so personally, that's what I've done. Professionally, as a coach, I use those things to help young ladies to understand how life works. I use those things to make them even more tenacious, because if somebody's coming at you, it matters not who it is, or if something doesn't go your way, or we have to deal with change, or we have to actually do something different than what we thought our plan was, you have to then lock in and you have to go even harder.
Okay. So in Lancaster, per se, the women's basketball team has not historically seen the same success as the men's team. What are you doing to build the program into one that has as much, if not more, achievements than the men's?
I don't compare it. Everybody does. Well, this team has this and this team has this. I'm on my own path, and I try to teach these girls the same thing. We're on our own path to success, and here it's only up for me. So everything that we do, we're going to set the tone and we're going to set the bar. And once we do that, we're going above that bar every time. So once we started winning and winning and winning, everybody's like, oh, Lancaster's winning. Well, that wasn't enough for me. Because if you accept winning with flaws and that winning is all that you think of, then you're not getting better. And so even though in the beginning of the season we were winning, that wasn't enough. We were making a lot of mistakes winning. And so we cleaned up those mistakes and we got better with those. And so for me, it's a matter of have your own push, have your own desires, have your own expectations for every individual. And if everybody does that, we as a team and as a program will be successful.
That's very motivating. Well, thank you so much, Coach. Have I forgotten to ask you anything, or do you have anything else to add?
Oh, yeah, I do. Absolutely, I do. I get a little bit of free moment. I've been waiting on it. Hey, Lancaster Nation, Lancaster Tigers, WEBO Nation, y'all, this has been a blessing here in Lancaster, and we appreciate all the support that you all have given us. We ask that you come out and that you wear your orange, wear your black, or your white, whichever color we are in that night, and you come out and support us in postseason play, because we are going to take the Lancaster Lady Tigers all the way to state. We'll see y'all there.
Thank you for tuning in this week. Come back next week as we will be interviewing our head soccer coaches, Christy Courtney and Fortune Cuckoo. Those of you listening to the podcast on your favorite podcasting apps, either Apple Podcasts iHeart, or Spotify, please like and rate us. That will allow us to appear higher in the rankings and gain more listeners. If you are watching the YouTube feed, which comes out a bit later than the audio feed, please like and subscribe to the channel.
This has been a production of the WEBO Podcast Network.